It is officially playoff season, and both the Quinnipiac men's and women's ice hockey teams are in the midst of the action. We have everything you need to know about the upcoming games. Inside the ECAC starts right now. Welcome inside Studio 125 for the inaugural episode of Inside the ECAC. I'm your host for the night, Ethan Logue, and I'm joined by three beat reporters for the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team, Gage, Kilborne, Coar, and Ben Kane. Boys, how are we feeling tonight?
I'm feeling fantastic. I just want to talk about hockey.
Exactly, nothing better than hockey.
I'm just here for a good time, and should be a good show. I don't know.
That's great to hear, guys. Now, it was a very busy weekend for the women's side of the ECAC as the semifinal and final took place at Yale. Now, all three of you were at that game, but Ben, you broke it down for us in a little more detail. Let's take a look.
Momentum. It's a word you describe when the feeling kind of shifts between two different parties. Now in Quinnipiac's ECAC semifinal matchup on Friday night against Colgate, from my view up here, the momentum kind of shifted about 6 or 7 times in the third period, starting off with Quinnipiac's second goal.
We knew that was part of our game plan. Like Colgate creates, and a lot of their goals that they get scored on are just like that. They're in transition the other way after they've scored. So I was excited about the composure that they had. I thought Freddie played a great game, and Mobes was ready to finish that, you know. It was a good moment. I wish we had a couple more of them.
One player who did have a couple more good moments for Quinnipiac was goaltender Corrine Schroeder, who held Colgate at bay for over 10 minutes. However, the momentum was slowly shifting toward the Raiders, and after a huge save from Hannah Murphy, it was Colgate's game to be won.
I thought that third period was incredible. They get one early when it looks like they're shooting on an empty net, and then we go down a little bit later. I think with like 6 minutes to go, score one to tie it up, and then 2 minutes later get another one. So good game, great hockey game, a lot of momentum shifts, and congrats to Quinnipiac on playing a great game tonight.
The Bobcats will now have to dig deep to get some momentum back as they head into the NCAA tournament next weekend. From Q30 Sports, I'm Ben Kane.
Great work, Ben, as always. Now, with the tournament wrapped up, let's take a look at the completed ECAC playoff bracket. And as you can see, it's the Colgate Raiders, once again coming away as tournament champions. What are your guys' reaction to the tournament as a whole? Gage, why don't you start us off?
You know, it's great to see 8 teams back in instead of 4 like we did last season, unfortunately due to the pandemic. But overall, I was impressed with the fact that with Corrine Schroeder. She was probably the main reason that they went to this far. And she actually gave them a good fight in the semifinals, and if it wasn't for a couple of late period goals, they probably would have gotten away with gone to the ECAC championship game. And I personally thought that the Colgate Quinnipiac semifinal, whoever won that was going to win the ECAC title, because because both teams are very competitive throughout the game. And Yale, I didn't really see Yale as much of a competition for either of them, as Quinnipiac defeated Yale 3 times in the regular season, and although Colgate lost to them twice in the regular season, they were able to beat them in the ECAC title. I think Yale kind of fell short near the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it next. I don't want to agree with you, but I do agree with you on this point. I think Corrine Schroeder was the reason that the Bobcats made it so far. She had 38 saves in this game against Colgate. I think it was 15 in the first period, 7 in the second, and then 3rd in the third period. She had an outstanding game, and they would have gotten blown out if it wasn't for her. I also agree with you. If Quinnipiac were to make it through this game, I think they would have won the ECAC. I think the Colgate versus Quinnipiac matchup was probably the biggest matchup in this whole series, and it could have potentially been the championship one.
Yeah, I kind of predicted that Quinnipiac was going to win the whole thing a few weeks ago on Bobcat Breakdown, but I am unfortunately wrong. But I was very surprised with how Colgate played. You know, they came back twice in the semifinal and the championship game to win the entire thing. So that kind of gave it a lot of confidence and surprised me as well. But I'm very happy with how Colgate's been playing the last few games and how they're going to be able to go to the NCAA tournament, playing Yale, where they just beat them in the ECAC championship game, playing them in the 4-5 matchup in the NCAA tournament.
Now, you also had a big upset in the playoffs this year. You had Harvard getting upset by Princeton the first time that's ever happened, an 8 seed beating a 1 seed. Any other surprises from that tournament, or was it, most of it was easily predicted?
Yeah, most of it was easily predicted. I picked Harvard in the Bobcat Breakdown episode a few weeks ago, but other than that, I kind of expected everything to fall the way it did, besides Quinnipiac winning it all. I had them upsetting Colgate, but yeah, that's how it was going to be for going into the NCAA tournament.
Now, it was announced last night in the NCAA Women's Ice Hockey Selection Show that the Bobcats would travel to Columbus, Ohio as the number 8 seed in the tournament to take on the 9 seed Syracuse Orange Thursday night. A little confusing, I know, but the winner of that game will take on the number 1 team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, let's break down this matchup for the Bobcats against the Orange. Connor, start us off.
Yeah, I am very confident in how Quinnipiac has been playing, although they have come off, just lost to Colgate. In losses in the regular season, they were 6-2 coming off of a loss, and one of those losses was at the time against number 1 Wisconsin, who is in the tournament at this moment as well. And I expect them to win against Syracuse, and I won't lie, I didn't know Syracuse had a hockey team before yesterday when you had the selection show, but I do expect them to win. You know, you guys kept mentioning it in the first topic, where Corrine Schroeder has been playing absolutely outstanding, and I wouldn't be surprised if she becomes the number 1 moving forward and not even see the backup goalies moving forward, where she's been playing extremely well, and she's going to be the key if they want to make a deep run of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, no, bouncing off of that, yeah, Syracuse overall, I was a little bit confused at how the NCAA picked the teams that were in. I mean, we'll talk a little bit later on the show, like 5 ECAC teams, the most ever in ECAC history. And it's the first year they expanded to 11 teams, and Cass Turner said that it was a great way to establish how much depth ECAC has, and I think this really does show it. Now, going on to this game between Syracuse and Quinnipiac, of course, the last time these two met was back in 2012 when Syracuse shut them out 4-0. Well, that was 10 years ago. This is now. And now they're a dominant team, and I feel that Syracuse is going to have to work pretty hard if they want to pull this one off, because I consider it like a bit of an upset if they are able to beat Quinnipiac, but I don't think it's going to happen with how they're playing right now. Olivia Mobley, she scored 6 points so far in the postseason at the ECAC playoffs, and Corrine Schroeder has been playing phenomenally lately. I think that not only are they going to beat Syracuse, but I think they're going to beat Ohio State in the regional final and make it to Frozen Four. That's a bold take. Do
you have anything similar to that, Ben?
Yeah, you know, I kind of talked about the same thing. It's a tale of two series for the ECAC playoffs where the Bobcats did really well against Clarkson, and honestly, I think we all can agree it was probably some of the best hockey they played. And then against Colgate, they kind of just fell off. But I see the Syracuse matchup as kind of a prep for that Ohio State game. And for the Ohio State game, I'm calling an upset, like Gage said.
Wow.
But Gage didn't give a reason. I'm going to give a fantastic reason. It is the big dog mentality.
Here we go.
Oh, my Lord.
Ohio State, they're the big dogs. They're going in the kitchen. They're looking for some kibble. They see the big bowl, right? They go down and start eating it. Then Quinnipiac, the little dogs, the underdogs, if you will. It makes sense. They go in. They start going for a snack. They start eating. Next thing they know, Quinnipiac, the food's all gone. Quinnipiac have won this game. It is going to be a big upset. And the big dogs, they're not going to eat because the little dog's going to eat. Quinnipiac are going to go through and beat Ohio State.
Well, Ben, you know who they're going to lose to, though? In the semifinals, it'll be to Colgate. The upstate mentality will beat the big dog mentality in the
Explain
Frozen
the
Four.
upstate mentality, please.
I want
Please.
It's upstate mentality.
There's too many mentalities.
A lot of mentalities going on here.
Keep going, Gage.
All right.
Too many.
No, so upstate mentality pretty much is the grit and wit and willpower to fight away to come away with a victory. So I think Colgate proved it at the ECAC semifinal at Yale, and they're going to prove it again the Frozen Four national semifinal in the Pagula Ice Arena in Penn State.
Is it all geographical? Is the upstate mentality all geographical?
It is. It's all geographical to upstate Central New York, where Utica and Hamilton, New York, where Colgate is located.
So do you have any mentality we should know about?
So honestly, I did come up with one recently. I think you guys will like it. It's called the Ben Kane Mentality.
Oh my
Giving a
God.
shout out to my buddy over here. You know, it's the type of mentality where, hey, he has his lines like, hey, that's it. You know, having a good time. If you're happy, you know, it's all gonna be a good time. I'm Ben Kane Mentality. I gotta love it.
Really quickly, Gage said that Syracuse would not have the upstate mentality, even though they are from upstate. So it doesn't make sense. But
That's Central New York. There's a difference. It's a difference.
You're very close
All
to
right, don't worry. I don't have any mentality, so we're going to move on. Now it is playoff time, so certain players are going to need to step up or be a difference maker in these games. So who is your X factor for this women's team? Ben.
I'm going to take Ann Frederick Node. She had a fantastic game against Colgate. She's this quick ice skater who likes to get down. She finds these pockets, and she gets from one side to the other super fast and then just passes the puck right across the goal. And she's just creating a lot of opportunities. She has 14 assists, but she doesn't have goals. I know, Gage, that was a big criticism for you. But she does well passing the puck. She had 3 assists against St. Anselm. 2 against Cornell. So she's definitely got it in her where she can create these opportunities. I think she's going to have a fantastic series. She's a U18 Canadian international. Gage, I'm sure you know every player on that team, but she is very good at what she does. I think she's going to have a really good series.
Yeah, Ben, you know who else was on that team, that Canadian U18 team?
I don't know who.
It was no other than Maya Labatt. So they were on the same line together on the U18 team, and they also played in the same line to start off the season this year. But that's not where I'm going. I'm going with Corrine Schroeder, the transfer from Boston University as the X Factor. Although she has shown great skills ever since the St. Lawrence series, where she gave up 5 goals. She's been phenomenal. Shutting out her opponents. And to list a few stats, she has a .944 save percent. She currently has a .67 goals against average in the postseason this year, which pretty much led the Bobcats to win 2 out of 3 games in the ECAC tournament, which was phenomenal for them. It was the first time they made it to the ECAC semifinals since 2016, and part of it had to be because of her. And if she steps it up even to have her game to another level, I think she's going to help the Bobcats make a deep run and maybe see them go to the Frozen Four.
Crucial in that Clarkson series as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, Corrine Schroeder has been putting up outstanding numbers, but somebody who hasn't putting up as many outstanding numbers but still should be the X Factor moving in is 2-year captain Olivia Coggison. You know, she's not filling up the stat sheets like you would normally see. She only has 6 points in the entire year, but I would consider her the Mackenzie Deweese of the women's ice hockey team, getting all the dirty work done and still producing for her team. Like I mentioned, she only has 6 points on the entire year, but when I interviewed her, the ultimate goal earlier today, the ultimate goal for the team is to win the national championship. And I've got the sense from her that she's not going to want to be in the front with all these massive points that we've seen from Olivia Mobley, Sadie Pierre, and Lexia Gia. She wants to be the type of person that gets the dirty work done for the team. She's very much a team player, and there has to be a reason that she was a 2-year captain and an assistant captain as a junior. So that's why I got to pick Olivia Coggison.
Yeah, those are 3 solid picks, and to quote Ross Meglin from last night, if my opinion matters at all, I'm going to go with Lexia Gia real quick. Senior assistant captain, obviously very crucial to the team, plays a big role, scores a lot of goals. Now, Gage, you touched on this a little earlier. 5 ECAC teams qualified for this year's tournament. Quinnipiac, Colgate, Clarkson, Harvard, and Yale. So who's making it the furthest?
Honestly, I have to say it's Colgate because they probably have the easiest path to go to the furthest because they get the quarterfinal bye. Although they're playing Yale yet again, they pulled 2 ECAC opponents. But since they have the momentum off of beating them in the ECAC title game, and not only that, they came back from behind. They were down, I believe, 1-0, but they came back and won in overtime at Yale. And it was just at Yale. Now they're playing at home in Hamilton. So I think they have the advantage now to where they have the home fans on their side, and with a win, I think they should go to the Frozen Four and possibly make it a little bit further. I don't know yet, but I think they have the best chance of going the furthest because they get to play that one less game.
Connor?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Colgate as well. Like you mentioned, they won the entire ECAC tournament, and coming back from behind in the semifinal in the championship game, it gives them the confidence, especially like you mentioned, when they were going home against Yale, where in the last time they were at Yale against Yale. So it's going to give them a lot of confidence going into wherever they may be playing Ohio State, Syracuse, or Quinnipiac in that Frozen Four game. And it would make the most sense for them to go the furthest because they won the ECAC championship. That's all I got. I just got to agree with Gage on this one time.
I'm going to take a bold take. I think Harvard are going to go the farthest. They lost in their first round. They topped the ECAC, but they lost in the first round of the ECAC playoffs. They're coming in with the underdog mentality, and they're going to win.
You're going all the way?
Oh, no, Harvard. They've been... Harvard?
Everyone has an opinion. Mine might be right.
Cambridge.
Yours might not be right, but mine probably will be right.
No, it won't. Harvard, they were the number 1 seed in the ECAC. They lost to Princeton. They're the first number 1 seed to lose to an 8-seed team in the ECAC tournament, Ben.
It's just his opinion.
It's just an opinion, but it's a terrible one. All I got to say.
All right, now we got to go to break. That was some great debate, guys, but it's time for a quick break. But when we come back, we will complete a line change of our own and talk some Quinnipiac men's ice hockey. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Welcome back to Inside the ECAC. We thank you for sticking with us. And as promised, we have made a line change of our own. Ryan Coope and Aiden Barrett now join us on the desk. I'm still your host, Ethan Logue, and that, unfortunately, is still Gage Kilborne. Guys, welcome to the desk.
Thanks for having us. Switch over to men's hockey, a little bit different, so I'm excited.
Excited to be here.
All right. Now, as we know, the Bobcats secured the Cleary Cup 2 weekends ago. And what comes with that title is a first-round bye in the ECAC playoffs, as well as the top seed in the tournament. So even though the Bobcats weren't in action this weekend, there was still plenty of ECAC hockey games. So let's take a look at how everything went down in the first round of the playoffs. Now, as you can see, clean sweep. All the top seeds won their games. Union beat Princeton, Colgate beat Yale, RPI beat Dartmouth, and St. Lawrence beat Brown. A couple of those series, going 3 games, including number 6 RPI, number 11 Dartmouth. That's a really surprise.
Yeah, that really is. I was honestly surprised because Dartmouth going in had only 7 wins on the year, and I thought RPI was going to probably, mop the floors with them because they dominated throughout the regular season. But then Dartmouth, not only did they lose to them, but they kept the games close. Like looking at the scores, Dartmouth won 3-2, and they lost second game 3-2, and then they lost the third game 5-3, which I'm assuming the fifth goal was probably an empty net or something. But that was probably the biggest shock I had out of the 4 first round series. Other ones were I was more surprised at how chalk they were, but the 8-9 one between St. Lawrence and Brown, I also take a look at. They went to 3 games, and in the regular season, they tied both games. So overall, I thought it was very competitive and as it was supposed to be. So those are some of the big matches. Those are the 2 of the ones that stuck out to me the most.
Coope, any surprises?
Yeah, I was surprised with how good Union was. I didn't think they were as good as they were. I would not be surprised if they pull off the upset in the next match. I was surprised with how good their offense was, how dominant it was. And I really do think that they have a shot to pull off an upset and advance to the semifinals.
And what about you?
Honestly, I don't think there really were too many surprises here. We saw that the teams that we thought were going to get to the next round, the 4 teams, the 4 higher seeds, all got to the next round. It's kind of what we expected to happen. So you know what? It's great for hockey because that's what we want. We want to see the best matchups, and that's exactly what we're going to get in this next round with some pretty good and interesting matchups and maybe an upset here or 2 there.
Did you expect all the top seeds in the team tournament to advance?
Yeah, I wouldn't have been, super shocked if some of these other teams, 8 and 9, one of them upsets, but you kind of probably saw coming that they were a higher seed for a reason. They were the better team, and some series won 3 games, others won 2, but at the end of the day, the better teams won each game, I felt like, so it's kind of what we expected, I feel like.
Now, as you saw, the Bobcats will take on the St. Lawrence Saints in the quarterfinal round of the ECAC playoffs this weekend in Hamden. Let's check out how the season series went for the Bobcats against the Saints. Now, actually, that's an updated bracket. Excuse me. So as you can see, Quinnipiac taking on St. Lawrence, Clarkson will take on Union, Harvard will take on RPI, and then you have the 4-5 matchup, Cornell versus Colgate. Any upset predictions here? No, Coope, you kind of touched on a couple of it couple times ago.
So I would not be surprised to see Union upset Clarkson. Like I said, they had a really dominant game against Princeton. And I think they're going to, come off that. They're going to be hot. Union, they actually had to play a little bit tighter of a series. Clarkson had to play a little bit tighter of a series. So I think they might be worn down a little bit, and I think Union's in a good spot to advance to the semifinals.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I feel really confident about Harvard getting past, Quinnipiac getting past. Now, Colgate could be interesting. Colgate, I think, has a chance to make an upset here and get on to that next round because they're playing one of the teams like Cornell. They're probably a little bit more evenly matched, but the other
series that are here, I think that they're kind of, higher seed's going to take them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Colgate, Cornell is going to be an interesting series because these teams both know each other pretty well, not too far geographically speaking. And
you're a big geography guy.
I'm a big geography guy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, they probably had practiced with each other a couple of times, filling each other out. And I think it's going to be pretty much like a coin toss between the two. And I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 3 games and maybe the third game goes into overtime.
I am going to agree with you, Aiden. I do think Colgate and Cornell is a very interesting series to watch. It seems like Cornell only plays their best hockey against Quinnipiac, so I think that's definitely an upset. But let's go back to Quinnipiac's matchup against St. Lawrence. Quinnipiac won the season series 2-0. They won game 1, 8-0, won game 2, 3-1 at St. Lawrence. So what are your predictions for this series? Could there be an upset?
There always can be an upset. I mean, I think we remember very well last year, if you're a Quinnipiac Bobcat fan, St. Lawrence went in there, really didn't give much of a shot to win that, and what did they do? They went and they won. Quinnipiac, they beat them 8-0. Doesn't feel as close this year. I mean, the next game was 3-1, much closer, but it still feels like it's Quinnipiac's game to lose, series to lose. Quinnipiac should be able to win this. They're much better everywhere. I mean, you look at it, better forwards, better defense, better goaltending. The veteran leadership's there, Ren Pecknold's there. It really shouldn't, Quinnipiac really has no excuse to lose this series.
Yeah, I mean, if it goes to 3 games, I think it would be kind of be questioning the team. If they win the series, but it goes to 3 games, I'll be kind of concerned going into the Lake Placid. But overall, I think personally that if they, like Aiden mentioned, with last season, they lost the ECAC title game to this same St. Lawrence team last year. The difference is there are fans in the stands. And that's one thing I like to point out is that's going to be the big benefactor for this series is that it'll be at the People's United Center with fans. It'll be the first home playoff series in about 2 to 3 years that this team has seen. So I think overall that's going to be the big swing towards Quinnipiac. So they have all the momentum on their side. There's like Aiden says, no real reason why they should lose.
Now, I know Aiden said that we can't predict that Quinnipiac 100% has this in the bag, but I'm going to say it. Quinnipiac 100% has this in the bag. 8-0 the first game, 3-1 the second game, but I think this series is more about Quinnipiac figuring out their game, getting back to how they were playing in the beginning of the year. I think they need to figure out how to get their offense going. This is a perfect series for it. It's not tough competition, so I think they really have to focus on their offense in this game and use it as a bit of an advantage to try to figure things out, before they get into those more competitive games.
So I just want to touch on what Gage said real quick. He said if it gets to game 3, maybe he feels a little bit better about St. Lawrence's chances. I like Quinnipiac's chances a lot in game 3 because of veteran leadership. We talked about that. They have 13 seniors on this team, 2 of them who have won a national championship. They haven't had that in years. Actually, have never had that. They have it this year. I feel really good about Quinnipiac's chances if it gets to a game 3.
Now we know what Coope thinks, but for you two, any concerns about the extra week off for the Bobcats? Think that may hurt them at all? I mean, you guys are talking about potential game 3.
Not at all. No, I don't think. I think people kind of overreact to a week off. I think if anything, it might be even better. They weren't playing their best hockey. Let's be honest. They were not playing their best hockey before we went away. I think we kind of overrate a week off. At the end of the day, puck, ice is white. It's hockey. Got to get the puck past the net.
That's a breakdown of
overrated for us, man. That really helped.
Good job.
Gage, what about you?
I kind of agree. I think that the week off, especially how they've been playing lately, they've been kind of struggling, 3-2 in the last 5 games, But I think that this week off gets them to be mentally prepared for the upcoming postseason. Regardless of who they're playing, it gets them to recover, relax. I mean, they won the ECAC regular season. Now that all that pressure's off their shoulders, they have more pressure, obviously, of trying to win the ECAC tournament, and hopefully the national championship is also what many people are
still on the table.
They're still on the table, but I think that this week off gets them to relax, and regroup and regather themselves. I mean, that's all that matters here in the end. And I think that overall, once we see them this next weekend, that they'll be poised and, as Ryan said, back to where they were before.
Yeah, that's some great points, guys. Now, I posed this question on the women's side, but now let's take it to the men's side. Who's your guys' X factor in this upcoming series against the Saints? Aiden, why don't you start?
I'm going to start off with the guy who has been consistent all year long. I'm going to go Zach Mensah. Where's Quinnipiac ranked right now, number 1 in the conference? Where are they ranked in national, number 6? He's been their best player. He's been their most consistent player. He's got 32 points in 36 games on the back end. I don't even think St. Lawrence has a guy dynamic forward offensively as Zach Mensah. That's how good Zach Mensah has been this year. That's how good he is. He can really take over a game. He can help this offense score more goals. This offense is struggling. Having a guy back there, almost like a fourth forward back there, to get you the puck around and really put up, pressure and points, it's going to really hurt St. Lawrence, really help out Quinnipiac. So I really like Zach Mensah as my X factor. I mean, we've seen it all season long where he's been their best player. If it continues, I don't see why anything would change in terms of they're going to lose to a St. Lawrence or a team that maybe isn't as good as them. So I like Zach Mensah. I'm also going to put a prediction here. I would be shocked if Zach Mensah doesn't have at least one PTO offer from an NHL club or an NHL organization this season.
Gage?
I was originally going to think Yanni Peretz needs to step it up a little bit, but how much more can he step up, honestly?
I was going to say, I don't think he can.
I mean, he's been
first
phenomenal.
in the nation in almost everything.
Yeah, and he's like a finalist for the Mike Richter Award, finals for ECAC Goalie of the Year, which
if he doesn't
win, then we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking more in depth about it, and it has to be Oliver Chow. He's on the team when they won the ECAC, when they won the national championship last season at UMass, and he transferred over to Quinnipiac, bringing that same national championship mentality with him. And with having that experience with him, to get past that final hurdle that this team has been looking for probably about 6 years now since they last made the trip to the Frozen Four, I think that if he's able to step up and take the reins a bit and try to show this team what it feels like to play in a postseason and take that experience to this team a bit further, that it'll help the team grow overall. And once he starts playing well, the rest of the team starts playing well. Because here's some stats to keep in mind is that in the past 5 games when Chow has scored, they've won the game. So that pretty much proves how beneficial he is to the team. And when he's on, the team is, as a whole, is working together. So if he's on for all the postseason, they should go pretty far.
Coope?
Yeah, I could not disagree more with the left side. Mensah, Chow, I mean, those are guys that have been consistent all year. They put up points. But one guy that we've seen a big difference is Ty Smolanic. In the beginning of the year, Quinnipiac was really dominant. They were sitting at that number 2 spot for a long time. They even made their way into the number 1 spot. And then we went on break, and Quinnipiac had a break, and Ty Smolanic went over and played in the World Junior Games that eventually got canceled. He got a little injured in that. But I think more of it was he didn't get a break. He kept playing hockey, and he hasn't had any time to take off. I know earlier you mentioned, is that break going to be bad for Quinnipiac? I don't think it is, because I think Ty Smolanic, he needs that time off. 2 things that have been consistent for the Bobcats this year is great defense and great goaltending. What hasn't been consistent is their offense. Their offense, once they started to go down and decline a little bit, the whole team started to decline a little bit. They lost to teams that they shouldn't have lost to, and in order for Quinnipiac to win the ECAC championship and make a run in the NCAA playoffs, Ty Smolanek's going to have to step up. The offense is going to have to step up in the whole, and I hate to put it on one guy and say, oh, he's the reason that their offense has been so bad, but realistically, he's the best goal scorer on the team. He's already been drafted to the Florida Panthers, and he's the guy that has to step up. He's the guy that has to find the back of the net.
Yeah, 3rd round draft pick. I'm throwing my hat in the ring. I'm going to agree with Coope.
I'm going to counter you guys.
No. Actually, I'm going to go right here. You've had your time. Zach Mensah. He's an X factor in the sense, like you mentioned, he's their best player. And you know what you're going to get night in. You know what you're going to get in and night out. You're going to get a point per game from a defenseman. Yeah, you're right. He's like a 4th forward.
And if he doesn't do that, though, then how good is Quinnipiac?
Then the defense
he's still playing solid defensively.
The goaltending.
He's still one of the best defensemen in the country.
Has 1 goal in his past 14 games.
That's the point he's making. He's saying if he steps up, that's going to change the balance of this team, send them in the right direction. I'm similar with Coope.
This is not a team that could win the ECAC with the way Ty's playing right now. They lost to Cornell.
I think they win without Ty Smolanek.
They lost to Cornell. In both their games, they lost to Cornell. They lost 2-1 in overtime and 1-0 in regulation. Is that the goaltending and defenseman's fault?
No. They got to find ways
to score. That's what we're saying. We're saying the X factors are a guy that has to step up. If they step up and be a difference maker, this team becomes a whole lot better.
Or be the best player on the team.
Yeah. No, but a guy like Zach Mensah is already, you know what you're going to get night in and night out. You know you're going to get the top defenseman in the conference. You don't know what you're getting night in and night out with Wyatt Bon Giovanni, who's my pick. And like you said, with Ty Smolanic, you need goal scorers to step up.
He's the number 1 center every single game.
I know, but he hasn't been scoring. He has 3 goals in his last 16 games. Is that a number 1 center in your opinion? No. So he's the X factor. If he steps up, this team's not beatable if Wyatt Bon Giovanni and Ty Smolanic play like they did in the first half of the season. They're not beatable. So like we've been saying, we touched on Bon Giovanni and Smolanic's recent struggles. our fellow men's ice hockey beat reporter Pat Flatley goes into a little more detail on the recent struggles of the two key players.
In stride for Smilanic, has a step. Smilanic getting held, and he scores! Oh my gosh! Bon Giovanni in the rink wide pass, the shot, he scores!
Quinnipiac men's hockey enters the ECAC hockey playoffs as the 1 seed and are 7-3 dating back to the CT Ice tournament. Now that was a tournament they won, but it was the first time we really saw this once number 1 team in the nation waver from their game.
You know, we got to find a way mentally to be tough, and we found a way to be resilient this week. It wasn't our best hockey, but we'll take the 2 wins and we'll move on.
The grind has hit some more than others. Sophomore forward Ty Smilanic is Quinnipiac's elusive, crafty forward, and it's no secret that the Panthers' 3rd-round draft pick has elite vision and is arguably the best skater on the ice, but as of late, Smilanic has been snake-bitten in the points department. In his last 17 games with the Bobcats, Smilanic has tallied just 2 goals and 3 assists. This team does have depth at forward and can cover if its go-to guys go on dry runs like this, which does happen over the course of a long, grueling season, but come playoff time, you need your top guys to produce. This team has already seen the effects of this dry spell. Quinnipiac has been shut out in 2 of their last 4 heading into the playoffs, both 1-0 losses to Harvard and Cornell. The frustration is evident on players like Smilanic, but Rand Pecknold wants his star forward to stay the course.
He did a good job. He had some good chances, and he's fine. The puck will go in from eventually. He's a goal scorer. He knows how to score goals. It'll go in. It's just a matter of time. Just keep getting scoring chances, and he'll get his fill.
Another one of Pecknold's top weapons has gone relatively quiet in the goal column, and that is Wyatt Bon Giovanni. The senior captain has just 2 goals in his last 14 games. More than anything, these streaks are bad timing, happening at the same time as the Bobcats walk into the conference playoffs. But an area in which Bon Giovanni has made up for his personal lack of goals as of late has been the assist column. While he's known for his lethal shot, his 16 apples on the year is a career high. That number also pushes his point total to a career high of 30, thanks to an additional 12 tucks in his first 21 of the season. But if you want to compete in the playoffs, you need to rely on your top guys to fill the back of the net. And for Quinnipiac, the offense will need to start and go through Ty Smilanic and Wyatt Bon Giovanni in order to compete with the nation's top teams.
Now, Aiden, I just want to let you know that during that package, Pat Flatley actually came into contact and got some bad news. He's agreeing with me and Coope.
Yeah.
So that really
carrying the
tells a
opinion
lot about you. I mean, Gage gets a pass because he's a women's ice hockey beat reporter predominantly, but I don't know, man. Huh?
I still agree with my opinion.
It's bad. It's a bad opinion.
Bad opinion.
Best player on the team is this. Okay. Anyway.
Keep being the best player.
Anyway, we got to move on. Now, that is all the time we have tonight on Inside the ECAC. We thank you for watching. To stay up to date on everything Quinnipiac men's and women's hockey, sure to follow us on Twitter at Q30 Sports, as well as we will have your full coverage this playoff season. For all of our beat reporters tonight and everyone who helped behind the scenes, I'm Ethan Logue. Have a good night.